This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. General Motors is at the top of the news today. Remember when the NHL teams helped out GM ramp up its mass production to fight the pandemic? Well, GM offered to return the favor by designing the NHL's next-generation Zamboni. But sources tell Autoline a fight broke out over exclusivity rights, and GM CEO Mary Barra ended up losing a tooth. When asked about the incident, Barra responded, "This ain't nothing. You should see the other person." Well, everyone thought that Hyundai was going to release a performance version of the Kona called the Kona N. But it turns out we got it all wrong. Hyundai is actually making a short film based on the movie Conan, which will feature action shots of the Kona. Hyundai says it's sorry for any confusion, but urges people to check out the Conan movie anyway. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety smashes up a lot of cars, but those crash tests create an awful mess that has to be cleaned up. So the safety gurus got the idea to team up with the Denture company and turn those smashed up car grills into blinged out grills for people to wear. Here you go, just to give you an idea of what they can look like. And I know, some of you think it's an improvement. And whoa, here's a crazy story. Car owners in Europe with 3-cylinder engines are suing automakers and spark plug manufacturers. They're crying collusion. Spark plugs are typically sold in packs of 4, and the 3-cylinder people feel like they're getting screwed. Lamborghini has been around so long now that it's got quite a few aging owners, and they can't contort their bodies anymore to get into their vehicle. So Lambo is coming to the rescue. It now offers reverse Lambo door kits. It got so much good feedback from the Huracan, which doesn't come with Lambo doors, that the marketing guys decided they were leaving too much money on the table. And that's the top of the news on this, the first day of April. We'll be back in a moment with what's really going on.
We want to know what drives your testing. OTA, connected car, diagnostics, remote testing. Intrepid Control Systems is here to help you work from anywhere. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.
Volkswagen wants to be the #1 EV maker in the world, but for now it mostly sells gasoline-powered vehicles. And Reuters reports that the German automaker and its joint venture partner in China, FAW, are buying EV credits from Tesla in order to comply with stricter emission regulations. No word yet on how much it's spending, but sources say the automakers are offering 3,000 yuan per credit, or a little more than $450. Last year, FAW Volkswagen sold 2.16 million vehicles in China, most of which were gas-powered. President Biden's $1.9 trillion infrastructure plan contains a big chunk of money to pick up the pace with electric cars. It includes $174 billion to install 500,000 charging stations by 2030, as well as point-of-sale rebates on EVs, not just tax rebates. He wants to convert all federal vehicles and public school buses to electric, and he wants to develop a domestic supply chain to make batteries and motors so the U.S. is not as dependent on Asia. The U.S. auto industry and the UAW strongly back the plan, and now the fight to implement it begins in Congress. LG Chem won a preliminary ruling against SK Innovation for stealing trade secrets, but it also sued SK for violating its patents. But this time, LG Chem lost. The U.S. International Trade Commission just ruled in SK's favor. Remember, SK had threatened to leave the U.S. if President Biden doesn't overturn the ITC's original ruling. It said this latest ruling could have bearing on the two companies' other disputes, but we don't know what that will be. We'll keep you posted when more info comes in.
Automated and autonomous driving are important developments that help make the traffic of the future safer more efficient, and more comfortable. We are ZF.
The world is changing at an ever-increasing pace. No matter what the mode of transportation, there is always the need for an efficient propulsion system. And that's exactly what BorgWarner has been doing since the earliest days of the automotive industry.
I know. It seems like we say this every day, but the chip shortage is getting worse. Ford announced production cuts at 2 of its plants that build the F-150. It will halt production at its Dearborn plant for 2 weeks starting on April 5th, and it will idle production at its Kansas City plant next week. And it won't run any overtime shifts at the 2 facilities through June. And that's a huge blow to the automaker, as the F-Series is a money-making machine. On top of that, Stellantis, Nissan, GM, Honda, and Volkswagen have recently announced production cuts in North America. Alex Partners estimates that the chip shortage will cost automakers $61 billion in lost sales this year. When will automakers start making a profit on electric cars? Bloomberg reports that it probably won't happen until the second half of this decade. While automakers make a decent return right now on expensive EVs, like the Porsche Taycan, battery costs need to drop to $60 per kilowatt hour for them to be profitable at the low end of the market. Bloomberg reports batteries cost about $140 per kilowatt hour right now. Hyundai revealed some teaser pictures for its all-new Santa Cruz pickup, which goes into production this summer in Alabama. I'm sure a lot of you are happy to see it retains a good deal of the concept styling. There's not a lot of details to go on right now, but we can tell you it sits on an ICE-based platform and will have all-wheel drive availability. Here's another thing. You know how BMW calls its utilities SAVs, or sports activity vehicles, instead of SUVs? Well, Hyundai is not calling the Santa Cruz a truck, but rather a sport adventure vehicle. We know Hyundai plans to package this truck in ways we haven't really seen in the segment before, so look out for those announcements too. And before we sign off, make sure to catch Autoline After Hours later this afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. It's all about design, past, present, and future. But that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll be right back here again tomorrow.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering, boost your game. BorgWarner, propulsion solutions that support a clean, energy-efficient world. And by ZF. ZF, driving intelligence for software-defined vehicles and transforming next-generation mobility.